Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, one and only AR Legends, and yeah, guys, today I am finally back, and today I'm gonna make another series, which is gonna be what if Naruto was, you can say, Naruto trained for 1000 years and became a legend which is far greater than the legend of Hagoromo, Madara, and Hashirama could ever hope to be. So yeah guys, hopefully guys will like this video, but before that I would like to apologize for not uploading in this time. You see that I was pretty ill in the previous month, so I was unable to make any video for you guys, but hopefully you guys will be able to forgive me for that, and I will be able to make it up to you guys as well. So I will try to make the next part out what is Naruto, what's Jiren's, had Jiren's power and other series as well, so don't worry about it. So let's, you can say, start my welcome back with this series. Hopefully you guys will like it. So yeah guys, before starting this video, I would like to make a request to all of you guys who are watching this video. If you guys are new to this channel and if you guys have not subscribed yet, please guys do so, it would be a lot helpful to me. So yeah guys, please subscribe, and yeah guys, I have also put the link of my Instagram within the description below, so please follow me on Instagram. And yeah guys, for the next part the like goal is gonna be 250 likes and 130 comments to that, and I shall upload the next part as quick as possible. So yeah guys, without any further ado, let's start the video. Last time, or rather, we can see that in a pure white space, one figure was dashing towards, you can say, towards another figure, as both of the figure met at the center as their fists collided with each other, making a gigantic shockwave, as which you can say shook the small dimension in which they were, as these two figures were looking exactly like each other. Both of them had blonde as well as reddish hue in it here. As a matter of fact, both of them were same, as both of them were none other than Naruto Uzumaki, a, you can say, a 18-year Naruto Uzumaki. You might be wondering who he actually was and where he actually was. Well, it all began, you can say, for Naruto almost 500 years ago, or rather, you can say, as far as he could actually remember, after his insanity started to come together in his mind. As Naruto was, he remembered when he was only a 9-year-old kid running for his life, but the shinobis caught him and threw him into the forest of death. Many people thought that the forest of death made by mistake by Hashirama, who put too much chakra into the forest, but no, it was not to be the case. Hashirama Senju was not only a warrior but also a medic. He had perfect chakra control. So how is this even possible that someone like him, who has been using good style from a very young age, using it in battles for years, made such a crucial mistake of adding too much chakra? No, it was not to be. It was actually made so that they can keep the other shinobis as well as the other enemy shinobis away from a specific area. As this area was actually made by the Uzumaki, especially Mito Uzumaki, so that they can prove they advance, you can say, experiments on the Funchishu. They were working on space-time seals and things like that. The first product was given to Tobirama Senju, who also added his own formulas into it, but still it was mainly the design of the Uzumakis, and Naruto was thrown into that, you can say, small area of the forest. After that, those Chunin simply dashes out of the forest, thinking that how the demon brat would die here. Naruto's life at that point was not that great anymore. He was, you can say, let's just say that little said about his life, the better. The Hokage tried to do, or at least showed that how he tried to do, but according to him, his hands were tied by the council, so there was little to nothing he could actually do for Naruto. So Naruto was living as miserable life as possible, but at that point, that was the turning point for his life. As Naruto finally, you can say, woken up in the forest of death, he looked around wondering where he actually was, but then he heard a voice, a growl that was coming towards him, as Naruto's eyes shot towards the area. Thanks to being a Jinchuriki, his senses were pretty heightened as he saw a gigantic, you can say, tiger almost lash towards him. As Naruto was able to barely jump out of the way, but his hand or arm was clawed by the tiger, so the blood was coming to from his hand as Naruto was utterly scared. He could not believe where he actually was. He started to look around. It seems to be a forest, but this was not the forest of Konoha, right? Though he did not knew anything about it as he ran for his life. As the tiger growled towards him and started to follow him, as Naruto was trying his best to outrun the tiger, but it was not to be. As he quickly, you can say, finally arrived to an old-looking tree. This tree was larger than most, as Naruto was almost back towards it, as Tiger was simply growling towards Naruto, as that was the turning point for the life of Naruto, as Tiger almost jumped on Naruto ready to end the life of Naruto, but the arm, which was already bleeding, the drops of blood were going into the gigantic tree that was there. Suddenly, the Funchishu marking started to, you can say, heat up and activated after almost a century. Within the seal, you can say, Kuroma's eyes widened at that. He had this feeling that how he has been here before or something like that. He started to look outside of the world as he saw that as a small tiger was trying to attack Naruto, as Kurama simply was ready to push a bit of his chakra to save the life of his Jinchuriki. But before that, the Funchishu marking activated as a small explosion occurred and killing off the tiger. But to Naruto's surprise, he was not there anymore. His eyes opened. He looked around to see he was in some strange space. As he started to look around, there were several Uzumaki swirls all around the place as Naruto started to walk inside of a small lab that was there. Several scrolls were present as Naruto was looking around all over the place, wondering where he actually was. While inside of the seal, Kurama's eyes narrowed at that. He finally remembered Mito Uzumaki. This was the research lab of the Mito Uzumaki as well as several high Uzumaki master of sealing, and they made it so that they can advance the Funchishu knowledge away from the eyes of the elemental nation in Konoha in the forest of death, as he was wondering what his Jinchuriki is actually doing here. As he growled a little, while on the outside world, Naruto was pretty amazed after seeing the whole place. When he entered here, a bit of blood was still dropping from his hand, and some strange markings appeared, and after that, this whole place started to light up with markings as if they recognized him for some reason. While to contrary believe Naruto's not all that stupid. Sure, he's like you can say he's a bit of idiot, admittedly, and was a bit you can say slow in learning things, but still he was not that stupid. Well, pretty stupid, but still. But people simply tend to exaggerate, like his brain dead or something like that, as Naruto simply shook his head and started to follow the light way that was present, as Naruto was simply looking all around the place, wondering where he actually was, as he was already remembering he was in some strange type of forest, and after that, that tiger attacked him, and after some time, he simply vanished from the area, and he simply closed his eyes, and the next moment, he was here, as Naruto simply shook his head, as there were several Uzumaki swirls present. Naruto was wondering if it has something to relate to his name or the symbol which he always had in every cloth which he actually buys, especially the given to him by Hokage. As he simply looked around, as finally his eyes met a strange place at the center of the whole research lab. There was a single, you can say, a piece of paper and some scrolls were lying around it, as Naruto was wondering what this place actually was, while inside of, you can say, the seal, Kurama did not like the feeling which he was actually getting from that scroll, as especially his stupid container was going towards him, damn it. As he tried to call upon his container to stop him, he has some idea, but it was pretty vague after, you can say, a century, but still, he had a bad feeling about it, really, really bad feeling about it. As Naruto was simply looking towards at awe, at the center, in a small pillar, a small scroll was, you can say, floating within mid-air. As Naruto put his hand towards it, the hand, which was still a small bleeding, though mostly recovered thanks to the chakra of the Kyuubi, but still a bit of blood in it, as Naruto's hand met with the invisible shield, as a bit of blood entered into it, and after that the shield simply disappeared, as Naruto was a bit confused, but once again he grabbed the scroll as he was wondering where he actually was, but still, being a kid, he opened it, and that was the turning point for the Naruto's life. His hand was still, you can say, had a bit of blood into it, and unknowingly that blood entered into the small seal as well as a bit of chakra. As Kyuubi's eyes shot open, suddenly his chakra was being siphoned as at a extraordinary rate. As Kyuubi growled a little as Naruto's eyes widened, he felt a sensation like his very life force is being sucked out of him. As Naruto tried to move his hand from the scroll, trying to throw it away, but it was not working. The seal inside of it was glowing red as Kyuubi was growling as much as he could actually move, trying to, you can say, stop it, but it was not working. His chakra, within seconds, several tails of his chakra was already lost as Kyuubi let out a final, you can say, roar, but it was not to be. As suddenly Naruto was engulfed in a bright light, and after that, nothing. And the next thing he saw, he was in a strange place. This place was all white. Everything was white. There was no sky, there was no ground, but still, he could feel, you can say, the ground at least. But there was no sky, everything was utterly white. This was actually, you can say, an experiment being performed by the Uzumakis. They wanted to see that if the theory of the alternate dimensions, the theory of the parallel worlds were to be. And for that, they decided to do research and they were came up with several ideas. It is just like a tree, though it will be explained later on, as Naruto looked around, wondering where he actually was, but then suddenly he felt a headache like he has never felt before. As he let out a scream of pure pain and agony, several memories started to flash inside of his head, while in the seal Kyuubi eyes open, he barely has two-tailed chakra worth anymore. As he growled a little, wondering where he actually was, he also saw through the eyes of his container he was in some strange place, and damn it, unconsciousness was already gripping him and forcing him to sleep so that he could recover his tails. But it was not to be at the moment. Suddenly, he also felt several memories slammed into the mind of his container. As QB let out a growl, these memories were too much. It will explode the brain of his container. No, he will not allow it. He sent the remaining chakra he has in his, you can say, tails remaining, sending it into the mind of his container, trying to separate these memories from the memories of Naruto. As Naruto let out a scream, he could not understand what is going on here. He saw himself being born, as he saw how he was born with triplets, how his parents, you can say, neglected him, and suddenly another memory where he was the grandson of Madara Uchiha, another memory where he was, you can say, the reincarnation of the Sage of Six Paths, another memory where he had the powers of Hashirama, more and more memories, more and more, you can say, all of those memories were slamming into it. He let out a final scream of pure pain and agony. There were more, where he was some creature known as the Ususuki, where he became the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tail, where he had the power of all the Bijus, where he had all the Kekigenkais. All of those memories, all of that knowledge, and all of that power was slamming into his mind and body. He simply could not take it anymore, while on the outside, inside of the seal, QB was pushing as much chakra as he could, and he was easily, finally able to separate all of these memories, which were simply too much to, you can say, begin with, as if hundreds, no, thousands of life of the same kid and different perspective. It was actually pretty, you can say, shocking to QB, but he had to separate these memories, seal them away. Otherwise, his container would not be able to handle it anymore, and his mind would simply shut down permanently. And QB was barely able to do so at the expense of all of his remaining chakra. As Naruto was knocked out after that. And after a few days, Naruto finally woke up, as Kyuubi has already woken up after a few days, as he was already going through the memories. While inside of the seal, Kurama simply growled at that. He saw finally opened his eyes. He has been able to recover at least 5 tail worth of chakra. It was a lot quicker than he actually expected. As a matter of fact, he looked towards his tails as well as his body. He has grown to his full size. As he simply looked towards his tail, he did not understand what is going on here, as if his yin half has returned back to him, and he was feeling stronger than ever. He looked around as But the seal was still intact, being able to contain him even with his full power. As he looked around and finally he remembered his idiotic container has went into the research lab of the Uzumaki clan, where he has entered his blood and chakra into an ancient seal which the Uzumakis were actually working on. QB had heard some rumors about it when he was inside of Nito's seal. After all, he did not have all that active, you can say, knowledge of the outside world, but still, some murmurs here and there, and some, you can say, see knowledge, nothing more than that. As QB simply shook his head, and then he remembered what he actually was seeing. He saw almost thousands of lives of this container of his own, Naruto Uzumaki, as he looked into towards the memories where his chakra was still engulfing those memories, as he hesitantly pushed his chakra into it, trying to see what those memories actually were. Unlike his human container, he could go through all of this memory without any trouble whatsoever. After all, he's an ancient being with the knowledge of thousands of years, and he can, you can say, remain as long as the world will remain. So he can actually contain this knowledge. As he finally, his chakra connected with the memories, as he was thrown into the memories, as he saw the timeline, as his eyes suddenly widened. Now he remembered what he actually heard from Mito all those years ago. But now he finally remembered, as he cursed under his breath, this was not to be, as he has been trapped into a dimension. No, not a dimension, but before that he saw the memories of the these alternate Naruto's, the memories where he bonded with the kid, the memories where the timelines where he remained an enemy, the timeline where the kid was the reincarnation of his father, the timeline where he, you can say, absorbed all the Utsutsuki's, the timeline where he was the reincarnation of Madara as well as Hashirama, the timeline where he had the power of Indra, the timelines, all these timelines where Mokitan, Sharingan, Rinnegan, Byakugan, all these known abilities of the world, he had it. All the timelines where he was not a Jinchuriki, the timelines where he was neglected by his family, all of that knowledge, all of that power was here. As QB could not believe his, you can say, what he actually was saying, and now it was making sense. As he growled a little, he has been trapped along with his container to the very beginning of the timeline. The timelines are like a tree, as well as their roots and branches. From a single, you can say, seed, a tree grows, and then his, you can say, not going into a straight line. It divides and divides even further, turning into branches and smaller branches, and even going far and more, containing more trees. At that, at this point, this seal was not a complete project. It was to see that if they can enter into the alternative realities, alternative universes, but it was not perfect, and it seemed that it did not they did not have, you can say, chakra requirement, and Mito did not knew what would actually happen if, you can say, QB chakra was to be used, and that was the right option to do. But since that QB's chakra has been entered into a seal rather than going into an alternative dimension, he has been trapped into the very seed, the very beginning. And since his, you can say, container has arrived here, the timeline was trying to figure out from which timeline he has been arrived here. And since he was unable to recognize him because of the enormous amount of timeline, all those timelines, knowledge, and all that was slammed into him, the timelines recognize him. But because of the, you can say, so many divisions, so many branches, and all that knowledge simply slammed into it rather than the knowledge of his own timeline. All of that has been slammed into it, and all of that power is residing here. But he can already tell that power will come along as well. But before that, he had to make his container strong. At the moment, only memories has came, especially the memories where he has the power of the Utsutsuki clan. As cubic cuts under his breath, his container, all of that power will arrive in time. After all, regardless how strong his container could actually be, there will always come a time when his container will die, and that power has to go somewhere, and that power will come to, you can say, the very seed, the very beginning. And since his container is here, all that power was slammed into him, destroying his body. He has to make his container strong, stronger than anything before. if he ever hoped to contain all of that power, as QB also noticed that since he's a part of his soul, the QB of all those dimension power will also come back to him, and thus making him even stronger than the Jubi could ever hope to be. Though that made him a bit excited, but he knew that if his container were to die before that, then he will die, and there's no telling if he be able to recover himself here in the very seed, in the very beginning of the timelines, as he cursed under his breath at that. And after a week, Naruto was finally able to woke up. As Kyubey looked towards, you can say, his container waking up, as Naruto groaned a little once again. Where was he? As he looked around, and once again, it was only white, plain white, nothing more than that. As he groaned a little and stood up, wondering where he actually was, as he started to look around. But before he could say anything, Kyuubi summoned Naruto in his mindscape, being stronger than before. He could actually do that, even though Seal usually will stop him from doing that, but now it does not have as much hold on him anymore. As you can say, Kyuubi looked towards Naruto as Naruto was pretty surprised, as he was feeling pretty strange. For a moment, he thought that you can say, he saw some flashes of memories, the memories which were supposed to be his own, and the memories where, you can say, he had siblings? No. Wait a minute. He was, you can say, grandson of Hashirama or Madara, something like that. As he simply shook his head, but before he could say anything, he looked towards the gigantic form of the QB. He took a step back in utter fear. As QB simply shook his head, he does not have time for this, not anymore. At this moment, he looked towards Naruto and going through the memories. And he finally nodded and pushed the memories of that and slamming it into the head of Naruto. As Naruto let out a small scream of pure pain, but finally it subsided, and then he realized who this creature actually was. Kyuubi, otherwise known as Kurama, created by the Sage of Six Paths, separated from the Jubi. As Naruto simply shook his head as he looked towards him. What? As Kyuubi simply sighed. Alright, kid, I do not have time for this. Because of your stupidity, you have entered into a strange seal which was made by the ancient Uzumakis, and which they were working for centuries from the time of the Sage of Six Paths, but still incomplete. Though you have been able to push my chakra into it since you are my Jinchuriki, and before you question is, yes, I am the QB, and yes, I did attack your village all those years ago. Your father, Fourth Hokage, sealed me inside of you so that he can protect those miserable people. That is beside the point anymore. You have been trapped here in a separate dimension, and because of your stupidity, I have been trapped inside of it as well. As Naruto was pretty confused, shocked, scared, and all that at the same time as he said, wait, I'm the son of Fourth Hokage? As Kyuubi sighed as he nodded at that, yes, your father was Minato Namikaze and my previous container Kushina Uzumaki. As Naruto gulped a little but nodded nonetheless for some strange reason. He was not all that scared of the QB. As a matter of fact, he was feeling as if he knew him, as if they were friends, and as if they have known each other for lives. Not one life, but rather several. As he looked towards the QB, as he said, Kurama, as QB eyes narrowed a little, wondering if those memories, or rather that those feelings, has been leaking inside of his container, as QB sighed and nodded nonetheless. Listen here, Brad, we do not have time for this. Your memories, you have been entered into the very beginning of your timeline, the very beginning of the shinobi world. How you can say it started while you have been entered into the very seed from the, you can say, trees and roots of your very timeline began, and therefore your time has been stopped here. As Naruto looked towards him, my time, as Kyubin nodded at that. If you are able to, that is a really, really big if. You're able to escape this place, you will still be the age of 9. You will still start from the very time where you can, you say that you entered into this place, while inside of this place, I do not know what will actually happen here. And as I said before, it is a really, really big if. But that is beside the point. You see this as he pointed towards a separate area where chakra was surrounding, you can say, a gigantic part. As Naruto nodded, those are the memories of those different alternative Naruto Uzumakis, the timelines where you had the power of my father, the timeline where you are the reincarnation of both of his, you can say sons, all of the timelines that has been there where you can say had the power of the Ususkis, born with the Rinnegan, born with the Byakugan, born with the Sharingan, born with them all, born with each and every Kekigenkai, stole each and every Kekigenkai and all of that. Each and every memory, each and every experience of those Naruto's is here. While it will kill you immediately if I were to release all of those memories here. But that is not the main problem here. Only the memories has came at this point, and I'm pretty sure that the power will also come in time. All of these Naruto's, you're only 9-year-old kid. If that power were to slam into your body at this point, even with my regeneration, you would die. That is plain and simple. It's not to gulp a little. So what should I do? And how I can actually escape from this place? As QB simply shook his head. I do not know how we are actually gonna leave this place. I'm not a seal master or anything like that. Though I'm pretty sure that the answer could be found there as he pointed towards the memories, but you're not ready for that anymore. Or at least now. You have to get stronger, a lot stronger, if you can actually if you actually want those memories here, and those power will also come in time. So I'm gonna train you so much that you can actually say that if you were dead, but it is to be point, kid, you have to survive here because I do not know what would actually happen if you were to die here. I do not know if your soul will even go to the other world to meet your parents. QB had to use that card, otherwise the kid might try to end himself, and that would not, you can say, go too well with the QB. I start to gulp a little. The thought of not meeting his parents even in death was really something. He was pretty scared even though he was feeling a bit angry at his father, but he does not but the QB does not seem to be too scary, or you can say too bad to begin with, and especially this feeling of similarity and familiarity that he had towards the QB was really, really strange for him. But he simply shook his head as he said, "So, what do you want me to do?" As QB style, "It's about time, kid. We are gonna train, and we are gonna train like hell." As Naruto gulped a little, but nodded nonetheless, as time started to pass, and just as the QB feared, you can say first memory that was seemed to be some original timeline or something like that, the timeline which goes the straight one, which means that it was actually the canon, or rather the true original timeline. Those memories, those power, the knowledge of the sage more, the ability to use the sage more, as well as being able to sync with the QB inside of him, and just like QB feared, his own power grows even further. The memories of that timeline QB has been slammed into his mind as well, but he was able to contain it, no problem whatsoever. He saw that how he fought alongside with his container, being able to enter into the KCM mode, being blessed by his, you can say, father and all that, and QB sigh and sacrificing himself to protect the kid against a Osusuke known as the Ishiki. As Kurama simply sighed and shook his head, he already knew that knowledge, but he was not going too deep into that knowledge because it will not change anything. He was only going through the memories of the kid and overall, but now even the experience has been slamming into his head and his powers as well. And QB at this moment can say safely he's quite near to the power, that of the Ten Tails himself. As while on the outside world, Naruto has just gone the first memory of the first timeline, and his training began even further. One thing QB noticed in this time, you can say in this very seed, in which both he as well as his container are trapped inside of it. Time was moving pretty fast. His kid, or rather, his Jinchuriki has been growing, but they do not need the sleep, they do not need food, even the injuries without his content are healing, you can say. And all that, it could be a great training regime, but he was scared for the kid, even though he do not like it. But these memories and experiences of the other QBs are also coming back to him with all of this, that he can actually start caring about Naruto Uzumaki. After all, the very recent QB's memory he has gone, and the experience of that QB has sacrificed himself so that Naruto could actually survive entering into the Bardian mode. As he simply shook his head, he do not want to think about it, but to be honest, he has already started caring about the kid. So he was wondering, after all of this time, even with the companionship which he had with QB, the kid's mind would not be able to handle it if they were ever being able to, you can say, went out of this place to enter into the original timeline from where both of them had actually came from. He feared that the kid would lose his sanity. He simply shook his head. He has to do something about it as he sighed, and there is only one way. He do not have the knowledge for that, but there is someone who had the knowledge. As he looked towards the, you can say, trapped memories, as he sighed, sending a bit of his chakra into it, trying to go through the mind and all that knowledge, as he was finally able to gather that the timelines where Naruto was born actually a half Yamanaka, and as well as the timeline, all of those timelines which has anything related to mind. Kyubi got the knowledge as he has already, you can say, sent some of his, you can say, the whole in the whole mindscape, the ceiling array was covering as Scooby slammed his tails into the cage, breaking it apart. He was far stronger than this cage could actually hold him, but he's not gonna release himself from Naruto. Who knows, his pure chakra, maybe he would disperse into this, you can say, the seed of time itself, and would not be able to regenerate himself. That is just a theory now, but he do not want to tempt fate at this point. So he simply looked around, and just like that, the chakra of both Minato and Kushina appeared. Kyuubi already knew that something like this would happen, as both Minato and Kushina were pretty shocked as well as surprised as they look around, as both of them look towards Kyuubi in utter fear. As Kyuubi sighed, he do not have time for this, as he sent a bit of his chakra into the memories, and the memories of, you can say, some other Minato and Kushina slammed into both of them. Minato remembered fighting alongside with his son in the whole, you can say, fight against Madara, the fourth shinobi battle, and all of that. Kushina remembering that how she met, you can say, Naruto in the seal and all that, as both of them were pretty confused. As Kyuubi sighed and started to explain what actually happened, as Kushina was at shock. She has heard some rumors about a secret, you can say, research lab, which actually was in Konoha, made by the Uzumakis, where the ancient seals, they were working on it, being created by their ancestors. So they were still working to develop it. She did not knew that it was actually to be. As Minato was also pretty surprised as she looked towards Kyuubi and asked him about it. As Kyuubi sighed as he told both of them where they actually were. They were at the very beginning of the timelines itself. As this timeline, after all, timelines are like a tree. They always spread far, far away and making from branches to branches, roots to roots. And just like that, and they are at the very seed of it. As Minato understood it, being a genius and all that, Kushina was a bit confused but nodded nonetheless, getting the initial idea of that. As Kyuubi told them that he's not gonna take over Naruto. As a matter of fact, he will try to help, you can say, Naruto to get out of here as soon as possible, though he feared that it will not be too soon. They might be able to enter here, but leaving this place is not gonna be that easy, and his fear about the whole, you can say, time in which both of them are gonna trapped in this whole dimension was pretty correct. It has, and now about the whole time, 500 years has already been passed in this whole timeline, or in this whole, you can say, dimension in which both of them are already trapped. As Kyuubi was looking towards Naruto in this time, his mind was already going haywire, though he was always able to reactivate the seal so that Naruto's sanity could once again be readjusted, and therefore Naruto was barely at this point. He was already gone, you can say, almost insane after 80 years of loneliness, doing nothing but training, and more knowledge. And with all of that, it came the longing as well. This Naruto was jealous of all of these Narutos, even well. These Narutos, most of them were hated by their home village. Most of them had loved ones, their wives, the timelines where he married some girl named Sakura, where he married some girl named Hinata, Ino, and many other. the families which they actually had. Naruto also longed for that, and it has been years where he only had the memories of that, a bit of, you can say, feeling that he was the one who was with them, but the longing was still there, and it started to get overwhelming. His insanity started to come to surface, but QB, thanks to his powers as well as several knowledge of the ceiling which he was able to get from the memories of all of these Narutos and QBs, was able to keep Naruto from going completely insane. But it also started to get more and more frequent each every, you can say, 30 to 20 years, and this type of, you can say, things started to get more and more adjusted while Naruto was still training. The powers of the other Narutos also came, especially the powers of Ususuke's Naruto, where he was born a creature known as Saiyan, who had the power to transform, ability to multiply their powers. Though Naruto himself did not transform into a Saiyan, but he did got the ability to multiply his power and chakra as well as his ki, as well as mana and many other abilities which he actually got. And the whole, you can say, whole the elemental nation finally came to an end, and all that, especially, you can say, the timelines where he became immortal, the ability to remain immortal also came. And QB was really, you can say, worried for his container, especially in most of the timelines. He was friends with this kid, and now, just like that, he was having, you can say, a lot of feeling for the kid. Though some timelines were really, really strange, where he was a girl and transformed into a girl as well. QB simply shook his head. He's not gonna do that after all, even though he has the memories and chakra of those Kuromas as well. He did not actually transform into them, their power added up to his own, though his mind always remained supreme, just like that of the original timeline. Same is the case with Naruto. His physical features did not change, though he got the power and abilities the same. As QB simply saw it, they tried everything. They tried the power when Naruto got the Rinnegan, when he got the Rinne Sharingan, a dojutsu known as the Jogan, the dojutsu of many other dojutsu. They tried everything, damn it. They tried all the Fuinjutsu knowledge they actually had, all the jutsus which can actually shatter the dimensions and bring them somewhere else, somewhere, at least in some other timeline. If not the original timeline, nothing worked. Nothing at all. As QB at this point has already lost hope, each and everything. 500 years has already been passed, and Naruto was doing nothing but training. As QB also noticed that more and more timelines were coming, and it seemed that more knowledge of the timelines were also coming, and for 500 years, both of them are doing the same thing, getting the knowledge. And after that, the training. At this point, QB was so much stronger, and that how he can take on 20, no, at least 100 Jubis at the same time and still came out victorious. He's that powerful at this point. But what is the meaning of this power if he cannot have his brother? No, at this point, his son, which he has been for 500 years, as Naruto once again appeared in the, you can say, mindscape. Tosan, or rather father, as QB looked towards Naruto as he said, "Well, Naruto, it seems that your training finally ends, huh?" As Naruto simply nodded at that. For today, I think that it's training. The training is done. As QB simply nodded at that as he sighed, as he said, "Why don't you take a nap, Naruto? You're pretty, you can say, tired." As Naruto nodded at that and went away into, you can say, small section of his mindscape. As QB sighed, they tried to use the abilities of the Rinnegan, of creation, of everything, but it did not work whatsoever. So there is nothing in the, you can say, seed. They cannot change it. Otherwise, all the timelines will be disturbed, and the powers of those timelines are stopping them. No matter how strong they actually are, there are thousands of the timeline. And regardless how strong Naruto actually is, he's not stronger than all the timeline where all these powers are still residing of those Narutos as well. Combined, they are more than them, so they cannot change anything here. But QB was losing hope at this point. He was getting desperate. He had to try something. But it was not to be. Another 100-year passed, and in this time, Naruto almost got insane for almost 3 times. But the QB was able to, you can say, fix him once again. And finally, you can say, time was passing, Naruto's and Kyuubi's power was growing and growing and growing. There was no end to it. More and more powers, more and more memories, experience. All of that was coming back to Naruto of this time, or rather of no time. As Kyuubi sighed, as he looked towards Naruto, Naruto, are you sure about it? As they have come up with a gamble, if it will work, then at least they will be able to leave this place. They will go to any timeline. Hell, they are willing to go to a timeline where there is no chakra. The timeline where Kaguya has taken over everything. They are willing to go even to that. They just want to leave this place. For 1000 years, they have been trapped here. As Naruto at this point was oozing with so much chakra that Naruto has more chakra than at least hundreds of timelines combined together. And at his one finger, as Kyuubi nodded as he said, well, Naruto, this sealing array, the original seal, we have the knowledge of that, but that seal did not work. Even absorbing my power has been grown so much that I am a lot stronger than Jubi could ever hope to be in thousands of lifetimes. But still, this seal was able to bring us here because it was easy. It was already powered by many Uzumakis, and with my, you can say, demonic chakra, we were able to come here. But this seal cannot throw us back into the original timeline, which we have to do for ourselves. So, are you ready about it? As Naruto nodded at that, this was their last hope. If it was not to be, then there will be no hope. There was a gigantic sealing array in front of them, which they were making for at least 100 years. As Naruto nodded, as Kurama simply nodded back towards Naruto, as Naruto simply, you can say, closes his eyes, suddenly aura started to surround him. His chakra was no longer just chakra, it was mana, it was ki, it was each and every known form of power to each and every timeline where Naruto existed. As all that aura started to surround Naruto's body, as Naruto opened his eyes, it was no longer just blue eyes, no, it was Rinnegan, Sharingan, Byakugan, Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Rinne Sharingan, the cursed eyes of the demon lords, where Naruto was actually became a demon lord and advanced his eyes to that of demonic origin with several abilities, all of that combined as Naruto started to gather each and every ounce of power inside of his body into his hands. This seal required gigantic amount of chakra to actually work, and this was their last hope. As Kyuubi nodded, as his eyes shut open, as his chakra engulfed the body of his container. It was so much as if they were more than sure that if they were in their original timeline, that timeline would have been exploded with the amount of power they were releasing at this point. As Naruto nodded and released each and every ounce of chakra, mana, ki, each and every power which he actually knew, each and every Naruto knew in every timeline. He released all of that energy towards the seal. A seal started to get, you can say, change colors. It started to glow blue and then towards red, then dark pitch black as Naruto was releasing everything which he actually had. As Kyuubi noticed something small, you can say a bit of hope. The world where they were actually trembled a little bit as it was actually working as he released more and more of his energy, each and every ounce of power which he actually had from all the cubies, from every dimension. He released it all, and just like that, as Seal glowed for the final time to a bright golden color, it shined the whole dimension where they were trapped inside of it. And finally, as Naruto, you can say, met the ground, as Kyuubi noted from the eyes of Naruto, this whole area was trembling as all the timelines were trying to stabilize the very seed from where they actually came from, but they were able to make a tiny, very, very tiny hole inside of it as Kyuubi completely took, you can say, control of Naruto's body. He noticed that he did not have much chakra, and then his eyes met, you can say, a small section of the memories which Kyuubi secluded of those Narutos which were not too good for himself, not Naruto. He has gone through those memories. Those Narutos are pure evil, and he did not want a Naruto to have those memories as well, and have a bit of influence of those memories. So he separated them using still two, you can say, two tail worth of chakra surrounding them of this Kyuubi. So he has to release it if he has to, you can say, leave this place. He has to take the risk as he cuts under his breath. But it was, you can say, too good of an opportunity for both of them to leave, and he will take it as he summoned all of that chakra back. And just like that, the memories of the evil Naruto's also slam into the mind of Naruto. But the Kyuubi will take care of that later. Those Kyuubi's memories also slam into this one as well. But he simply shrugged them off. He already has too much memories and he knows how to take care of that. Same, he has taught to Naruto as well. Sure, these memories will have a bit of effect on Naruto as well, but it will not change him that much because these memories are not too much compared to the other Narutos who are much better version of this character. So he simply shook his head as he ran towards, you can say, the small hole which they were actually able to make, and just like that the hole was closing, and at the very last second QB activated one of the abilities, the swift release, using his full speed of Naruto as well as the dash inside of the hole, and just like that it closes once again forever. As while in the far far away, as Naruto closes his eyes and opens them once again, he notices that once again he has few memories as well, some evil deeds he was doing himself. All of that, being a demon lord and things like that. Naruto simply shrugged them off for the moment. He does not have to, you can say, go through those memories if he do not require them. Though he, you can say, got a bit of glimpse of that as well, but he simply shrugged them off as he, for the first time in a very, very long time, he did not, he saw things other than simply plain white. As he closes his eyes, as he opened them, as he stood up, he noticed that he was shorter. As he looked towards his hand, he simply cannot believe it. As he started to look around, he was in the very same place where he left. The scroll was still in his hands. As Naruto threw the scroll away, as it turned into dust. As Naruto looked around, as he simply could not believe it. They have done it. They are out of that hell. As a gigantic smile came to his face as he entered into his mindscape. As he noticed that his father was there. As he said, "Father." As Kyuubi simply looked towards Naruto with a small smile. Naruto, it seemed that we have finally done it, huh? As Naruto could not believe his eyes as he ran towards his father figure and, you can say, engulf him. Well, being a 9-year old, not being able to engulf well, still, you can say, wrap his hands around the claw of his, you can say, father figure, which has been for the latest, well, he do not know how much year, but at least centuries. He remembered that at least. As Cubis gave Naruto a small smile as he said, "Hmm, it seems that we have finally done it, Naruto. We are back to our original timeline." As Naruto was crying at this point, all of that grief was already coming out. To be honest, Naruto has become quite emotionless over the years. He has too much, you can say, control over his emotion. As QB had a feeling that Naruto will return as well, being emotionless and things like that. After all, being too many seals are in his mind which are keeping his sanity intact. But QB knows that those seals will break and that insanity will slam into Naruto. He only hopes that his will, which he has gotten him from himself, as well as the wills of all of those Narutos, is actually greater than the insanity which came from 1000 years of, you can say, loneliness and having only a single fox, no matter, you can say, the father figure being with him. So hopefully he will be able to remain sane, but only the time will tell. So yeah guys, here I will have this part. If you guys enjoyed it, for the next part you guys already know the like goal and the comment goal, and if you guys have some ideas about this Naruto, because this series is gonna be OP regardless what you guys may say. So if you guys like this video, please subscribe and like. For the next part, the like goal and comment goal, you already know, 230 likes and 130 comments. Do that and I shall upload the next part as quick as possible. So please guys do so. So you and I both can enjoy this series. So yeah, peace.